cutting this up for me. He's currently just putting some fuel in the chainsaw. We're gonna put these up in the barn for around 2 years. This is a 9-foot log, probably close to 30 inches in diameter. Do you make it one swipe before you run out of fuel, or is it basically one cut's one tank?
It didn't make it through one pass, so I'm gonna have to fill it up.
I guess that's to be expected, because I mean that's really pushing the saw, isn't it, Dad?
Yeah, it's got a 36-inch bar with a ripping chain that's a skip to, and it's a real, let's see, usually they have a 30-degree edge on them, but the ripping blade or chain, it's got a 10-degree, so it takes a smaller bite.
So you can see here's the sawdust. It's very fine. Now Papaw did something real similar to this, didn't he, when he's building a shed?
Yeah, he made his barn out of poplar. So,
poplar?
Yeah, it's a softer wood. This is red oak.
So it's hard?
It's pretty hard.
So the slide on this ladder, you just took an old ladder here?
Yeah, this was just an old trash extension ladder, and then I glued these little wooden runners.
And that's just so it'll slide easier.
Yeah, the aluminum kind of galled up.
Yeah.
Because it's aluminum against aluminum, and then against the wood, it slides real easy.
Okay. Let's say a really fine-tuned saw that you can just go kind of when it'll start.
Let me turn it on first.
So first thing to do in a situation like that is just to turn the saw on. It should have been on because it died.
No, that's right.
But you're gonna have to prime it, won't you? You have to put the choke on.
Maybe not. Let me get my gloves on.
Did we replace the jug on this one, or is it the 260 we replaced the jug on?
260.
Okay. You're gonna have to put it on choke and let it. Let it cool down.
Let it run.
Yeah, normally let it idle, cool down. You'll want it to cool a little bit, but then you can see it smoking the chain with the clutch right now. So that, whenever you're getting off a big cut like that, you want to let it run for like 30 seconds before you cut it off, because that's the hottest that motor's going to be. All right, so it's the second day of cutting. Dad's made a little process. So here we're cutting at 2.5. And what width are these boards, Dad?
About 28 inches.
So 28. And we were talking about you could probably bookend these together and make a real nice tabletop. So we're going to cut 2 sections at the 28th by 2.5 thickness. So somebody, if we sold them, we could make a bar top or something. And then the rest of them, we'll probably just cut them at 1.25 inches and 8-inch wide boards. And we are really putting this little Ryobi to the test. Is this mine right here?
No, I couldn't find yours.
Oh, well, I can see why you need this one. So it has a little laser on it to help you see where to cut.
I don't know if the laser works or not. Can't see it in the daylight anyway.
Yeah.
Now, the chainsaw, Stihl MS310 is a 60cc chainsaw, and it's really a little underpowered for a 36-inch bar for ripping like this.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what you really need is a Holzfforma.
Oh, a Holzfforma, the blue saw?
Holzfforma.
Yeah.
The G660, 92cc beast.
You know, I think I might be able to get one of those for us.
I like it.
We might not be able to cut this log with it, but I think on our next one, we might be able to use that Husqvarna.
Well,
Husqvarna.
the next log's got lots of branches in it, so the grain's going to be really tough. So yeah, we need the big saw for that.
We need a real saw. Okay, we'll get going on that.
It's going okay. When I get into these branches,
yeah, it slows it down.
It's really difficult for it to cut that grain.
Yeah, boy, the grain's pretty on this, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, well, this is on the second log, and this will be the first log that we're going to rip with the G660 Holzfforma chainsaw. So right now we're sharpening the blade. When I say we, I mean my dad's sharpening the blade. And we're going to go ahead and cut the knot off this log, and then we're going to go ahead and get it all set up. Would recommend, if you guys are running saws or any power equipment that's over 90 decibel, to go ahead and use earplugs, so you don't have to wear hearing aids when you get older. Looks like we got some bystanders coming this way. They'll probably move out of the way whenever we fire up the saws. Oh yeah, there they go. Didn't like that. So now what we'll do is we're just gonna set the ladder up on it, level it. Look at the curious horses. April sniffing gas. It's quite the involved setup process, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tell me what's involved with this setup process. What do we have to do?
Well, I'm getting ready to put a ladder frame, which is going to be the guide for the Alaskan sawmill. And
so what you'll do on that is you're going to put a board across the log and then screw that to the log and then attach the ladder to it with clamps.
Right, screws and clamps. And so the boards that I screw into the ends, they've got to be both level, and I adjust the height so that the mill cuts to the point that I want it to.
Okay. So on this first cut, we're going to go right for the heart of the board. We're going to cut it in half, because you found out that if you start at the top and then go down as you get towards the end of your cut, it's actually making the boards not be the consistent thickness that you want.
Right, so I'm going to start from the center and work my way up so that the frame will control the height along with the settings on the mill itself.
Okay. So we're just going to shim. After we do the cut, we're going to be putting shims in as we go.
April.
Probably every foot or so.
Go on.
We got a horse eating a hat right now.
Go on, April.
So that way it won't pinch the blade, because that would probably be quite the chore to get that blade out if it were to jam it. Okay, we're gonna get this set up and let you guys watch. We've got a horse over here trying to eat our supplies.
Once I'll put in one screw, and then it'll hold itself. Want to be sure and angle your screws up so that as you get close to it, you don't get your blade into the screws.
Okay.
If it were pointed, if you were starting at the other end and trying to go uphill, you'd have to push it the whole way. But this, you just rest your hand on the saw and the throttle, and the downhill slope, it just feeds itself. The saw does, going down the log.
I'm really interested to see what this lumber looks like. The other one was more like the trunk of the tree, and on this section it's more of where the tree starts to get the branches. And I think it's going to have a very interesting grain pattern on this wood. Hopefully there's no nails.
Might have to cut some notches.
Saw is, I've got it audio gain at 2, and we're still just about peaking when they're running the saw. Okay, so Dad, you've been running the saw now for probably, I think it was like 15 minutes. What do you think of the Holzfforma G660?
It did a good job. It didn't bog down. It seemed to have made that cut that it took 30 minutes with a 60cc saw. So the 92cc engine makes a big difference, speeds things up.
And right out of the box, I didn't have to adjust the carburetor, and I noticed it was doing the proper tone on the gurgle whenever it was running. You could kind of hear it in the video, where when you're wide open, it'll just get like a bubble bum a little bit while you're running. That means you're in tune, and this one did it. So out of the box, I didn't have to tune this chainsaw. We did go through almost 2 full tanks of fuel on a 8-foot board, though, 22 inches wide. So it is, you know, it hasn't probably seated in the rings all the way, but I think it went through about the same amount of oil, didn't it? So
Yeah.
2 tanks of oil. So
With the 60cc saw, I went through 4 tanks of gas to make one cut, and the vibration was a lot worse on the 60cc than it was on the 92cc G660.
so this one's probably got better isolators, is what you're saying, or maybe the older Stihl just doesn't have enough power, and you're just catching all the vibration from the blade hopping.
Probably.
But all right, well, we're going to tank this up and set the saw up, and we're going to cut this first board at 2 3/4 of an inch. Where our cut's going to show up, because we have to factor in the thickness of that blade. Be choking. That could have been bad.
Mm-hmm.
So what we had happen was the bolt came loose, and you can see the chain was actually grabbing that bolt.
Probably stretched the chain out. May have ruined it.
You're going to try to sharpen it and go ahead and continue with it,
Yeah.
and then I'll pick one of those up.
Okay.
So what's that, about 3 inch? 3.5. You know, the thing
measure
we
it.
could do is we could get a bolt longer and put a jam nut on this backside
Mm-hmm.
and jam it to that, and then that wouldn't happen again.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and head to the hardware store. Got the nuts loose enough?
How's that?
You got the nuts loose enough?
Yeah. Probably not that heavy, is it?
Oh boy, it's going to have some color to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh. That actually turned out really nice. It's got that hole in it, but I think that could probably be filled with resin.